depressing, right?
That is depressing. That's
There's
news.
10
That's my first time hearing it.
NYPD officers have died from it in New York.
This is serious.
10.
It's serious. It's a serious thing.
Pretty good number.
Kids are still not taking it serious.
There's some people not taking it seriously yet. I mean, I didn't take it seriously up until probably last week. So, I mean, no, I've been longer than that. I've been wearing gloves longer than that. So, I've taken it seriously. I mean, I was just in the store not too long ago where someone in there had it. I'm hoping he wasn't making my food. I got food from there.
No, you came here afterwards.
Yeah, and we recorded or something. We did something. I don't know.
We did record. We did record.
Well, look, we ride together. We die together. Yeah. Bad boys for life.
Yeah. Okay. Bad boys for life.
Bad boys for life, man.
All right, man. Hall of Fame class. What do you think about it?
I think the greatest one I've ever seen.
Well, for the listeners that don't know, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame members were announced. And, of course, it was led by Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett. Also going in was Kim Mulkey, Tamika Catchings.
Mulkey don't deserve it yet, I don't think.
We'll get there. Hold on. Barbara Stevens, because I don't want to leave nobody out. And Eddie Sutton and Rudy Tomjanovich. So congratulations to that class.
It's a good class.
It's a big-time class.
I mean, I'm surprised Rudy's just now getting in. That surprises me. Monkey getting in the same time as Rudy? I don't understand that.
Well, Rudy
got punched square in the face.
Yeah, that was ugly.
He deserved to be in just for that.
Rudy, yeah.
There's some people saying it's the best Hall of Fame class ever, or one of them. Top.
I would agree with that.
Agree with what?
This being the best Hall of Fame class ever.
This is just coming from the same guy that called people stupid last week.
I'm gonna call you stupider this week because Michael Jordan won it. He was just in the finals last week.
They're not going there
but
yet.
He actually...
we're not there yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
Stay focused. Stay focused.
I was about to snap.
You're one of those people.
It's stupid?
Yeah.
Why?
There was another class, I'm pretty sure, Michael Jordan class.
Just Michael Jordan. What are you saying?
I mean, pull up his class. We have a stat guy pull up his class. I think it was Michael Jordan, David Robinson, John Stockton. I mean, that alone, if you ask me, it's a hell of a class.
Let's go Michael Jordan being a 10, Kobe being a 9.
Maybe. That's still pretty close for my liking.
Tim Duncan is way better than David Robinson.
Nah, it's about an 8-9.
No.
It's about an 8-9.
No, it's about a 9-6.
No, you're out your mind. Don't do it to the Admiral. Don't do that to the Admiral.
We're talking about Tim Duncan.
Don't do that to the Admiral.
He's the best power forward ever.
John Stockton might be one of the best point guards ever.
Nobody had John Stockton as the best point guard ever.
Why not? Because he wasn't flashy? He didn't go through his legs?
No. Because he
lead the league in assists.
Because he wasn't the best point guard ever. That's why.
He was John Stockton.
If you could start I'll give you 5 teams to put together of NBA players, and you're not putting John Stockton in any of them.
I'm putting John Stockton on one.
You're a liar.
He's fundamental basketball at his finest. It's like watching a bunch of chicks play. They're fundamental. You told me that.
They're more fundamentally sound. They shoot the ball better. They take.
John Stockton was that. He was a fundamental basketball player.
John Stockton was very fundamental, and I'm not taking anything away from him. Like by saying he's not KG.
I mean, KG's a 3 or 4.
I'm just saying, like his career.
They're not comparable.
What do you mean not comparable? That's the third
player. How
player.
can you compare them?
Because we're going Kobe, Mike.
No, bring up the whole class.
All right, I'm getting
You got Mulkey, Catchings, Tomjanovich, and Eddie Sutton.
Eddie Sutton, yep.
Bum. We got Mulkey, bum. Sutton, bum. Only ones who deserve it. Catchings deserves it. One of maybe the best people.
Sutton has over 800 wins.
I don't care what he got.
Over 800 wins.
He coached for 40 years. He should have 800 wins.
You could start coaching. You could have started coaching 10 years ago. which would make you.
Basketball is different. They play 80,000 games.
And you still wouldn't have 800 wins.
They play 80,000 games.
Listen.
I coach football.
You can start coaching when you turned 18
I
years
coach football.
old. I'm talking basketball. Listen.
In my career, in 5 seasons, I got 40 wins.
Listen. If you could coach basketball and you started coaching at 20 years old and you coach the next 40 years, you might not get 800 wins.
I would have 900.
No, you would. Michael Jordan's Hall of Fame class. Jerry Sloan was in there.
Wow.
What?
Way better coach than Tom Janovich.
No, he's not.
Keep going.
Rudy won a title.
So what?
Jerry Sloan didn't win nothing.
Jerry Sloan had Utah relevant for 25 years.
And he had 2 of the greatest players ever and didn't win a title.
Tom Janovich had a big 3.
What are you saying?
Just telling you.
Rudy's better.
All right,
John Stockton was in there. Vivian Stringer. That's a good one.
That is a very good one. That's a great one, actually. That's better than Mulkey. That's better than Mulkey.
I'll give you that. And David Robinson.
But who else?
But they are not better.
Who else we got?
They are not better than this class that just went in. You had, Kobe, Duncan, KG is better than Jordan, Stockton, Dave Robinson.
I just disagree, man.
Rudy is better than Sloan.
Any list that Jordan's on, obviously, that should tell you basketball. When they get the top college basketball player, any list that Jordan's on, he's making it. It's number 1, even if he don't deserve it. But we know he all deserves it for basketball. Basketball, he deserves it.
You're like these dumb people that voted for Jordan last week.
I didn't vote for Jordan last week.
No, but you just like him. Because you hear his name, you automatically think the best.
I thought the best player in college basketball history was Jimmer Fredette.
You just lost all credibility to our fans, man.
Jimmer, man, you got Jimmered.
Everybody that listens to us now done lost credibility.
I was just joking about that. Even though I did like Jimmer though. He put him up.
Yeah.
Jimmer put him up.
Jimmer's over in China right now.
Best player I ever seen in college that I ever seen. No. Not going Lou Alcindor. We didn't see him play.
I say forget about seen. Because you didn't see Jordan play in college.
I didn't either. That's why I said seen.
That's what I'm saying. So you might as well go off the...
Seen in college basketball. That's a tough one. There were some guys that were good in college but not good in the league.
You can't go off of what you saw. We're talking about the best college basketball player ever.
Who do you think is the best basketball player you ever seen? Period.
The best basketball player ever
Not
seen?
no, in the college. Not Lou Alcindor. We didn't see him play. Who?
Well, the one that I seen?
Yeah.
It's different. We came up in a different era where...
Who?
Listen. Where they were one and done or skipping college.
Okay, that's fine. So who's the best? But no, we're not going high school. We're going college. Guy that played in college.
So I'm saying that our era is dumbed down because of that.
That's fine. Let it be dumbed down then.
It don't matter. Don't matter who's the best I saw.
Who's the best you saw?
The best college basketball player I saw. Michael Grant Hill.
Who?
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill. I didn't see him play really.
There's a lot you could go off of.
I didn't really see him play, and I don't know if he was the best.
People thought he was going to be the next Jordan.
He's a dookie though. I know why you went there. I know why you went there. I wouldn't be biased by going North Carolina. There were some greats.
They don't have none that you think are the greatest.
You got
ever.
your freaking mind.
Who?
They had some greats play there. Jerry Stackhouse.
Not the best ever. He's a good.
Vince Carter played there. He was good there.
They're good basketball player. They weren't.
McCants was good there. Rashad McCants. He was great there. Tyler Hansbrough was great there.
Tyler Hansbrough was great. The rest of you guys' names were average.
No, they weren't average.
I mean, they were okay. They're not. They don't
Tyler Hansbrough was way above average.
They don't belong.
One of the greatest players in college at that time.
He had a great career.
I remember watching Carmelo play and being really impressed by him. And he led his team to a title his freshman year. And I thought that was pure domination by him.
You get hot at the right time.
Yeah, I thought that was pure domination by Carmelo. I ain't gonna say he was the best I ever seen, but for him not being mentioned, he was pretty great. He was pretty great in college. He only played 1 year though.
I'm about to say it comes down. Nobody cares about the 1 year. Anybody can have a good year.
Oh, no, I'm going off of the best year, best player you ever seen. Well, it don't matter what year it was if it was just one and done.
I'm just stating.
Like
saying.
Tim Tebow might be the best football player we ever seen in college.
I don't know why, but we're getting off topic here because that Jordan draft class, Hall of Fame class, was not better than this year's 2020 Hall of Fame class, and that's
pretty close.
You can say it's close.
I might say they got it. Jordan's class got it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
We're going Stringer, Sloan, Jordan, Stock. Yeah, it's close. It's close.
I don't think it's close, but I'll take your close. I'm definitely not taking your it's better.
If Kobe Bryant was still alive, we'd be saying it's a lot closer. Right now, everyone's emotional. Kobe Bryant's in that class. Things like that happen, man. People, a lot of times, especially in America, people do things off emotions.
Well, Shaq made some interesting comments that we'll talk about on the other side of this break about Chris Webber being snubbed. And if Chris Webber got drafted to the Spurs, maybe he would be Tim Duncan. We'll talk about that on the other side. Remember, you're listening to Opinionated Facts on the RTF Sports Network as well as TCP. We'll be right back. And you're back listening to Opinionated Facts on the RTF Sports Network as well as the TCP collaboration. Now, we have the great Shaqness, who made a statement along the lines of, if Chris Webber, who got snubbed this year, or I feel though he got snubbed, my co-host feels differently, but if he was drafted to the San Antonio Spurs, that he would be Tim Duncan.
I think that's an asinine statement.
Why?
Because your talent is what your talent is. So, regardless if he got drafted by Golden State and played in Sacramento.
In that pop system, though, it's a little different.
No, that pop system is not different. We're seeing that with DeMarcus DeRozan. Or, what's his name? What the heck's his name? From the traded for Kawhi from Toronto?
DeRozan.
What's his first name? DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
We see that with him. I can't even pronounce his name anymore.
He's doing
that
well.
Pop system the pop system's good, but the pop system ain't great, obviously, because he was a star in Canada. And now you don't even know you don't even know his name.
He's playing well.
Is he?
Yeah.
Because they may not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They
tough.
probably won't.
The West is tough.
They probably stop at the bottom. The bottom 8? No, stop.
The West is tough.
Pop made it in the West the last 20 years.
We'll see what happens.
He's not gonna make playoffs.
They ain't got the playoffs yet.
They ain't gonna make the playoffs. Anyway, your talent is what your talent is. If Tim Duncan goes to Golden State, they were competing.
Yeah.
If he goes to Sacramento and plays with Lottie Divac and they played against the Lakers, they're probably going to the championship.
No.
Yes, that's the difference.
You're being disrespectful.
The talent is what the talent is.
So you think...
Put Tim Duncan on Sacramento, and them battles they had with L.A., they go to the championship, and not L.A.
Come on, man.
That is a fact.
No, it's not.
Yo, that is a fact. Your talent, Shaq can't say that, because your talent is what your talent is.
Chris Webber was...
Put Lolly Divas on Sacramento. On LA Lakers. And put Shaq on the Kings. That ain't automatically taking the Lakers to the championship.
I don't think you're giving Chris Webber his due diligence. Like, he's a bad boy.
He's a good player.
He's a great player.
He's a good player.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
He's a little wishy-washy with the timeouts, but he's a good player.
I think Chris Webber he's just as good as KG. Like, he's on that level.
He's good. What do you mean? He's not Tim Duncan. Talent-wise.
He's not.
Regardless who they play with, talent goes, he's not as good as Tim Duncan.
Talent-wise, Chris Webber he was a bad boy, man.
You're not, see?
I don't.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's
not Tim Duncan. You put him somewhere else, they probably don't even get the nickname Twin Towers. You put him on Spurs, he probably don't get the nickname Twin Towers. He gets another dumb nickname.
They're definitely the Twin
He's
Towers.
still C-Web.
No.
That's all he is.
Should he have won in the Hall of Fame this year?
I mean, it's hard to say he got snubbed. How did he get snubbed? Who are you taking out?
KG could have waited a year.
Come on. Let's stop. Game changer. And he has a title.
See, Webb's a
He
game
has a
changer.
title.
He does have a title.
If it's that close with him, you go with the guy who had the title, right? Who do you go with?
I
If
agree.
it's that close, who do you go with? You go with the guy that has the title. KG got a title.
Yeah, but you wanted to take Sloan over Rudy Jonathan. Sloan don't have a title.
I'm saying Sloan was valid for 25 years. 25 years.
Yeah, man.
He had Jazz irrelevant.
C. Webb took Michigan to the Final Four. Back-to-back years.
He called that timeout. It's the bane of his existence.
That
Him calling
timeout,
that timeout is the bane of his existence.
he was a dominant NBA player.
Who?
C. Webb.
Dominant?
Yeah.
Dominant.
His early years? Yes.
I feel like there's only about 15 players ever in the history of the NBA that were dominant.
He's one of them. 15?
15.
Get out of here. There's 15
They were
dominant players.
dominant. They were dominant.
There might be 15 dominant players right now.
No, no, dominant. To just dominate.
Yeah.
No,
You're saying 15
No.
dominant players ever.
ever.
No.
Shaq, Kareem, Wilt, Bill Russell.
What, they got to be big men?
No,
I'll say we didn't put Jordan
you
there.
got Jordan. Even Kobe at times, I don't know, was dominant. He just shot the ball a lot.
Buddy. You're talking about
It's about guys that can dominate the game no matter what's going on, no matter the scheme, no matter if there's 4 players on them. None of that.
Chris Webb averaged
He
20,
wasn't dominant.
20 and 9 for his career.
He wasn't dominant.
For his career.
20 and 9. That's not domination.
You forget about the later years when he went to the Sixers and did all that stuff. But his early years, he was a bad boy.
In his early years,
I'm just saying, like, you're trying to say that he wasn't a dominant basketball player. I can give you
well,
KG
when you
over
say
him.
dominant, you put him in the same dominant category as Shaq or Tim Duncan, Karl Malone.
Yeah.
No, you can't even put him in the same domination category as Barkley.
No.
None of those guys. So where are we going with this domination thing? Like, where are we going?
You named 4
How
of the
far
best.
out can we go?
You named 4 Hall of Famers, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just saying. There's levels.
I didn't say he wasn't a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying, who does he deserve it over this year?
I said arguably KG.
How can you argue that?
Because
KG was a 2010 guy, too.
only thing you can say is KG got the title, but he had to go to Boston to do it.
KG was a 2010 guy, too.
If you replace KG on that team with in his prime Chris Webber, they
don't
still
go.
have a title.
They don't go.
Come on, man.
They don't go. Not even close. They
Come
don't
on.
win it. They might go to the championship. They're not winning it
Why?
because Chris Webber probably called timeout. They don't have any.
This guy's terrible, man. Give Chris Webb his just due, man.
I think he's a great player, but he didn't get snubbed. You only get snubbed when somebody gets in that don't deserve it. Who don't deserve it? Who didn't deserve it?
I said you can argue KG.
No, we both know KG deserves it. So
No, I'm not saying KG. I'm just saying he could have waited a year.
can C-Web.
See, Webb been out a while. He should be in.
He should be in when it's his time.
He's a first ballot guy.
He ain't no first ballot. Stop. When he played for Golden State, they were terrible.
He wasn't.
But they were. That's what happens. When you don't win games, what happens?
That's
You
what
become
happened when you're
relevant.
the first pick. You know, I'm
Look
going
at
to go to a
Kevin
bad
Love
team.
when he played in Minnesota.
That's what
Nobody
happened.
cared until he was averaging 25 and 10. You know why? Because they weren't winning games.
That's what happens when you go to a bad team. You get drafted, number 1. You go to a bad team.
If you're that dominant,
and your
you
team
win
struggles.
games. He didn't win no games. You know why? Because he wasn't dominant.
That's not true. Shaq
fact.
didn't dominate his
That's a fact.
I mean, Shaq dominated, but his team didn't win too
That's
many
a
games
fact.
his first year.
That's a fact.
Jordan
You
took
go against
9
him.
years to win the title. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jordan won the title in his eighth year.
All right.
Just like LeBron.
8th year.
Yeah, he didn't didn't align yet.
C. Webb never got a Pippen. C. Webb didn't come into an admiral.
C. Webb never got a title either. Never got nothing.
If C. Webb got drafted to the Spurs,
C. Webb ever win MVP?
Duncan, he's a Hall of Famer.
Did he ever win MVP?
Who?
C. Webb.
No.
Ever been league MVP?
Look at the teams he
How
played on.
How dominant could you possibly be?
Look at the teams he played on.
He played for Sacramento. That's the Western Conference Finals like 2 years in a row.
He led his team to the
led.
Yeah, he led.
Led. Some say Vlade Divac.
Oh my God! Nobody says Vlade Divac.
Vlade.
You can't name nobody else on that team.
I can't.
Exactly.
Vlade and C. Webb.
Jason Williams on that team, wasn't he?
Jason Kidd. Oh, J-Dub. Yeah, Jason Williams was on that white chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on that squad.
All I'm saying is
he one of the best point guards in the league at that time.
He can't be throwing
at that time.
He can't worry. No,
at
it
that
wasn't.
time.
He wasn't.
What do you mean he wasn't?
He was flashy, but he wasn't efficient.
He wasn't. He was like Derrick Rose early on.
No.
He was Derrick Rose early on.
Derrick Rose was an NBA MVP guy.
He was.
No, he was not. He was passing the ball to C. Webb and making it look good doing
Jason Williams, when he played for Sacramento, was a good player.
He was. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he wasn't one of the best.
In the league.
No, he wasn't. Bottom line, C. Webb led that team to as far as they could go. And they lost to a better team. But if C. Webb would have got drafted, Duncan would have never led that team there to the Western Conference Finals. That's all I'm saying.
Look, buddy. Jason Williams was a good player.
Yeah, okay. You hold on to that.
He was averaging 14 and 8. That's 14 points, 8 assists when they were relevant.
That's average.
That's what do you mean? That's a good player. 14 points, 8 assists.
All right, I said that, but I said he wasn't one of the best.
You know, shooting 38% from he had a good career.
You can't say one of the best. He did have a good career. I like
14
the guy.
8 is one of the best, man. When you're in the Western Conference Finals every year.
It wasn't every year.
It was back-to-back years.
It was 2 years, and he played with one of the best power forwards in the league at that time.
There's not a Hall of Famer.
Who should be.
Tomorrow.
Stop disrespecting him. People like you hold on to the timeout.
I don't care about the timeout. Timeout doesn't hurt me.
That's the first thing you want to.
It was a relevant argument.
It's the first thing you want to. Had no claiming. It was one play in a game.
That was a huge play.
They wouldn't even have been to that point if it wasn't for him.
There was a couple seconds left. What do you mean? One play of his whole career. It was one huge play of his entire career.
They wouldn't have.
Maybe arguably the biggest play of his career was the timeout.
Listen, they would not have been there if it wasn't.
He panicked.
He was young.
Well, yeah, that's no excuse. He panicked.
He wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for C. Webb.
They wouldn't have been there.
They wouldn't have been there.
Stop. What do you mean? They had Jalen Rose.
The Fab Five wouldn't be the Fab Five.
Without the fifth guy.
Without that guy.
He was the third best guy on the team.
They would, what?
He was the third best guy on the team.
You deserve to be smacked.
Jalen Rose and the other kid, Bernard King, were the two best players they had.
It wasn't Bernard King. You're thinking Juwan Howard, man.
No. He was on that squad.
What do you mean?
The kid King was on that team. His last name was King. What was his first name?
He wasn't that good.
No. He was the best player on the team, arguably.
No, he was not.
Yeah, you're such a...
He's the only guy that stayed 3-4 years in college.
Yeah.
The rest of them guys
he
left.
was the best player on that team, yo.
You're an idiot. How can you say...
He was the best player on that team. Jimmy King.
How can you say...
No, Ray Jackson stayed.
So did Jimmy King.
Jimmy King was out of that thing first year.
No, he was. He wasn't the only one that left first year.
The second year, whatever.
I don't know when he left, but nobody knows the relevance of the Fab Five after Chris Webber left.
You're out your mind.
He was Batman.
Jimmy King was the best player on that team.
If they were the Jackson Five, Chris Webber was Michael.
No, he was not.
That's all I'm saying.
Jalen Rose was the best player on that team.
No, he wasn't.
God, you're unbelievable.
He wasn't the best player in the NBA of the Fab Five. He wasn't the best player in college of the Fab Five. Chris Webber, he needs his just due. Get him in the Hall of Fame, Naismith basketball people.
Get him in the Hall of Fame when he deserves it.
He deserves it.
No, he does.
It's bad enough.
He does deserve it. That's true. But unfortunately,
got you digging the crates for guys like Jimmy King and
King, man.
And Jay Williams. Come on, man.
What? He played with some good talent.
No.
The Fab Five was going to be relevant that year regardless. They only got 4 of the guys.
You digging in the crates for some people, man. Like, come on, man.
Ray Jackson.
If they didn't have Chris Webber on them teams, they're not even going to the finals.
Well, I know who had them. Golden State, and they didn't do nothing.
Hey, bottom line is...
They didn't do nothing, but then Baron Davis came, hooked that thing up.
Well, Chris Webber was gone by then.
Exactly. Baron Davis made them relevant. They were winning games then.
They were never really relevant.
They were relevant.
They were a fun watch. It was like Steph and Clay when they had Mark Jackson. They were fun to watch, but they wasn't really winning nothing.
They were winning.
Yeah.
Steph Curry wasn't healthy enough yet. Steph Curry's always out.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just a fun watch, man. That's all it was.
Man. Come on. You're disrespectful to the Hall of Fame class this year.
Salute to everybody got in the Hall of Fame. Put Chris Webber in there. We got to take another break. We'll be right back. Remember, you're listening to Opinionated Facts on the RTF Sports Network as well as TCP Collaboration. We'll be right back after these quick messages. And we're back. You're listening to Opinionated Facts on the RTF Sports Network, TCP Collaboration. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. Make sure you follow the page, Opinionated Facts, our OF Podcast Boys. Moving on. Mike Leach. How does this guy keep getting hired?
He's a good coach.
I made a comment about that on Facebook, or post about that on Facebook.
He's a good coach.
He makes teams relevant.
He does. Washington State wasn't really doing much till he got there. Where did he come from? Louisville?
No.
Where was he
Texas
at?
Tech.
Texas Tech, yeah, Texas Tech. When he was locking people in the closet.
Yes.
Then he went somewhere else, and then he went to Washington.
If he was black, he wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, he would. He was relevant.
Yeah, you're right. He may be coaching Division II football in southeastern Louisiana somewhere.
No, I just think Mike Leach is one of those guys that is him all the time. He doesn't know that he has to have like a public eye on him. So he has to have like a public persona. Like he has to be careful with the things that he does because he's Mike Leach, because of the things he's already done and have been accused of. Mike Leach is a good coach. He wins where he goes. Wherever he goes, he usually wins.
All right, well, let's tell the story. Hold on. Let's tell the story first. So Mike Leach is now the head coach at Mississippi State, one of the most historical racist places in America.
Mississippi?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he tweets out a picture of his wife holding a noose, saying that she's getting ready to hang him or something because she's tired of him, being in the house because of this quarantine situation.
Sounds funny.
And racist.
Racist how? Because it's a noose? Why is it that you equate a noose with the black person? That's what I'm more mad about that.
Mississippi?
Period. Let's forget that he's in Mississippi. Let's say he coached for Temple.
But he don't.
Would the people still be mad? Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was a noose.
That's because in America, historically, a noose been used for hanging
Historically, yes. But, people have used nooses for other things.
Yes.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. But in America, what's it known for?
In America, it's a knot.
If somebody walking past your house out where you live in the middle of nowhere,
I'm an African American gentleman
with a noose,
and he's white and shows up at my front porch. That's a racist thing.
No, he's walking past your house, just swinging his noose around.
I would want to know what he's going to use it for, but I wouldn't assume he's using it for a black person.
You would assume he has some. Would you assume that he was a Barack Obama supporter?
I wouldn't assume.
Would you assume that?
I wouldn't assume anything.
That he looked at you and didn't see somebody less of him?
I'd probably scream out the window, like, "Hey, boy, what you doing with that rope?"
But you wouldn't assume nothing.
Well, I assumed that he was a racist because he's carrying around a piece of rope. No,
I didn't say racist. I said somebody that views you as being below him.
I don't know. Maybe I come from a different place, but when I see a noose, it doesn't make me cringe. It doesn't make me see racism. It doesn't make me see Emmett Till. Like, when I don't see those things when I see a piece of rope. I'm not going to let that box me into a corner and like, yo, this is racist.
That's not.
Yes. And for a long time, it was considered, it depends on how you use it. Everything is about what you use with the information, how you use it. So if I take a noose with the intent on let's say I tie a noose and I hang it on a black kid's locker in school. That's meant for intimidation purposes. That's meant to be racist.
Yes.
But if I get a noose and put a white doll on it and hang it out front for Halloween, is that racist?
If you get a noose and you hang it out.
I was just, you know what? I wanted to hang a dead doll out on my front porch for Halloween as a decoration with a bunch of other decorations. It just happens to be a noose with a white freaking mannequin hanging in it.
Off a tree?
No, right from my roof or something. Whatever. It's like a scare tactic thing. Is it racist?
It's offensive.
To who?
To people who might not like seeing dolls hanging from wherever they're hanging from. So yes, that would be offensive.
To who?
I just told you, to people who do not like seeing dolls hanging from any place.
Okay. Why? Could they equate people hanging as black people hanging? Because there's hangings that still go on in this world.
In this world, yes. There's slavery that still goes on in this world.
Yeah, so...
But we're talking about America, and we're talking about Mississippi.
You can't just say what's going on here. I mean, there's things going on everywhere.
Yes, this is where he works at. This is home.
This is where he works at.
You work in Mississippi and you coach a predominantly black team. And you think that it's okay for you to tweet out a picture of your wife with a noose in her hand talking about hanging anything.
I honestly think he didn't give it any thought before he did it. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe he didn't think in his mind that this is going to be offensive. And maybe that just makes him out of touch. It doesn't make him a racist.
Do you think
he coaches predominantly black people? Period.
Yes, that's
no
why,
matter where he's at.
That's why I'm wondering what his train of thought was behind.
It's more. I think it's more. It's more. He's out of touch. It's a lack of. It's more. He's more ignorant than anything. I think it was ignorance.
Playing the game that he plays.
I don't think he put thought into it. Like, yo, this is a news. This is going to offend my black players. No, I don't think he thought it. Obviously, he wouldn't have posted it if he thought that.
Would you send your kid there?
To Mississippi State to play ball?
Yes.
I don't know if I
send
my kid to. Oh, Mike, he can play for Mike Leach.
Okay.
That's big time football. Hell yeah.
If Mike Leach wants him, another coach wants him. I would rather send my kid.
That's SEC football. So and once they offer you an SEC, everybody in the SEC offers you because they don't want you to have them.
Once, I would want my kid to go to a lesser school than to go play for somebody who was at.
So you mean if it was
or insensitive?
If it was Mike Leach at Mississippi State or North Dakota State?
And we're going North Dakota State.
We're going. I trust my kid more around a bunch of black people in Mississippi State than I do than North Dakota State.
Why are you? It's not the kids you got to be worried about.
The kids are going to have each other's backs.
It's the guy who's talking about nooses
Leach.
And looking kids in closets.
First of all,
that's the guy you got to worry about.
Mike Leach. He ain't overpowering anybody. Things get ugly. Them kids will whoop Mike Leach's ass. That ain't the problem.
It's power.
I'm never worried about, Mike Leach and Mike. No, I'm not worried about him.
He ain't going to hang nobody.
I'm worried about my son being comfortable in his atmosphere, which he's going to be more comfortable in the atmosphere with people that look like him.
I'm not worried about him physically assaulting or hurting nobody, no. But it's the guy with power, and that's the type of
There's power in numbers.
And racism you have to worry about.
There's power in numbers.
If it's the noose with that.
I'll take them 10 guys that got my son's back that look like my son over that one guy that got power. There's power in numbers. You know why? Because everybody on that team that stands up and says, you know what, I'm not playing if he's our coach, Mike Leach should be out of there.
That might happen.
I'm just saying.
We already saw Fabian Levitt transfer.
Okay, he transferred. But I'm saying if the rest of his players stood up and said, we're not playing if he's our coach, then Mike Leach would be gone. But they're not doing that. Because some people aren't offended at all.
No, I'm sure they are. Because I think there was a walkout or something, or protest. There was some protest.
No.
About the...
Everything can't... You know what? People are bored. It's quarantine. People are bored.
I mean, I agree with that.
You got time to pay attention to stuff like this.
People are definitely bored. But... Like, that's the type of racism you got to worry about.
Everything can't be racist.
I'm not saying it is. But I'm saying that is insensitive.
It was insensitive. I agree with that.
And yes, Fabian,
it was ignorant.
God bless you for leaving.
It was ignorant. It was insensitive.
Racially insensitive.
It was racially insensitive. He should take a class on it.
All right. That's all we're saying. So you agree.
But I'm not saying, I don't think he gave it any thought.
I'm not making excuses for him. You're a grown
man. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm saying
millions of dollars.
No, it doesn't matter. There's not one white person in this country that knows what it's like to be black.
Yes.
Not one.
I agree.
So there are going to be insensitive things that they don't know about. And yeah, the lack of knowledge on his part, absolutely. But was he being racist and should he lose his job because of it? No, I don't think that. No, I don't agree.
He definitely should lose his job.
No.
But if you're if you're that much out of touch, then you can't be trusted to run a football program bringing in millions of dollars.
This guy has been in big programs bringing in millions of dollars. You can't trust him because he posted a picture on Twitter?
Yeah.
Stop. Our president has done worse things. Our president of the United States has been more offensive than anyone that I've ever listened to on television. Anyone that I've ever seen. Any tweet that has ever come out, he has been more offensive than anybody I know. And he's still got a job. And he's our president. He meets with other countries on our behalf.
And you know who his right-hand man is?
I don't.
Mike Leach.
No, it's not his right-hand man. Stop.
So I promise you.
Stop.
Listen,
Stop.
Look it up.
Look, I'm not mad at the guy for voting for somebody.
No, I'm not.
I don't look at you differently because of your political views.
I'm not telling
you.
What
I'm saying is, Donald Trump has been more offensive to all races, not just blacks, not just some white people, not just Asians, not just China. He's been more offensive to every race that's not his race than anyone I've ever seen, anyone I've ever heard talk.
Birds of a feather flock together.
And I don't believe that Mike Leach is on that level. Absolutely not.
He publicly campaigned for the guy.
So what? So do we. I didn't, but you publicly. I know people that publicly campaigned for Hillary Clinton. So what? We did the same for our people.
Okay, that's his people. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is we have done the same for our people. So somebody that we want to win an election, we'll go out and campaign for those people. We'll go out and do this. He was just doing what he thought was right. He thought, okay, in his mind, I got to get this guy elected. Just like in your mind, Donald Trump's a piece of crap. I got to get Hillary elected. In his mind, he said, Hillary's a piece of crap. I got to get Donald elected. He's not responsible for what happens after that.
All right, so
we're not responsible for Hillary sending emails that shouldn't have been sent.
All right,
or using the emails.
Here goes the history.
You got me going off.
Here goes the history between Mike Leach and Donald Trump. Donald Trump released a book, one of them books that he released. Mike Leach read it, was a big fan. He wanted to meet with him. This is before Donald Trump was president, and they met, and they've been, I wouldn't say best friends, but they've been close ever since.
So that's Kanye West.
All right.
Black people still buy his album.
I'm not saying anything is wrong, but I'm just saying birds of a feather flock together. So all your insensitive stuff that you just said about the Trump man, our president,
He's
our
responsible
leader,
for his own mouth.
Is this guy hangs out with?
So is Will Smith responsible? Is Jay Leno responsible? Because Trump's made appearances on all those places, on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, on The Sunday Show.
That was 30 years ago.
It don't matter what it was. It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. If that's your man?
30 years
That's
ago.
your man? He was on your show, right? He was on your show.
No.
That's your man. That's what you're saying.
No, you're thinking of something that happened
No,
one time.
what I'm saying is
30
Donald
years
Trump
ago.
was cool to every single rapper until he became president.
And started saying racial stuff. Yes.
No, that's not what it was.
That's what it was.
The guy was cool to everybody. Oh,
No.
everything was Donald Trump, Taj Mahal. Da-da-da. This guy owns these places. I live in Trump Towers, presidential suite. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that.
And then he went out and got endorsed and got publicly endorsed by the head of the KKK and loved it. And black people were like, oh, let me fall back from this guy. He's a weird. He's obviously a racist. And then he goes to Puerto Rico and he's shooting jump shots at the boy with toilet paper.
Let me ask you a question.
Like,
If Hillary Clinton got backed by the president of the Black Panthers, you think she would have backed off of it?
Yes.
You're out your cotton picking mind.
Yeah, now we have cotton picking.
You're out your mind.
Yes.
You're out your mind. If she got endorsed by the Black Panther president, no way she backs off of it.
All I'm saying is your boy Mike Leach and the insensitive guy you were just talking about. I'm just saying, you understand that birds of a feather flock together.
I thought that only worked for women.
Are boys.
I feel like that only works for women. I always said birds of a feather flock together. I always said it in reference to women.
That's probably insensitive. I don't even want
Exactly.
I don't even want you to elaborate on that.
I'm not going to elaborate on it. It's very offensive.
Shout out to you, Fabian Lovett, man. He transferred. He's a 6'4", 315
Shout out him
pound.
for what? For leaving?
Yes, for standing up for something. He's a D tackle. He's currently in the transfer portal. So teams that are looking for a nice D tackle, 6'4", first out the SEC.
He's probably not that good.
Yes, and he started for him last year.
So what?
You start in the SEC, you're pretty good.
That's not true. Tim
Yeah.
Tebow started in the SEC.
Another guy that had probably one of the best college careers
He's a
ever.
bum.
So salute to Fabian Lovett and Michael Leach. Hope you get fired before the season starts.
Wow.
I said it. That's how I feel.
He should lose his job
Yes.
for posting a picture on Twitter that wasn't meant to be racist or insensitive.
You don't know what it was meant to be.
His intention.
You don't know what it was meant to be.
The guy's not going to intend to insult his entire team.
Well, you should have made better choices.
It was a bad judgment call. I agree with that. I'm not saying it wasn't. It's a bad judgment call.
If he was Mike Leach, if Mike Leach looked like me and you, he wouldn't be coaching anyway. He would have been gone
I'm
after he
light-skinned.
locked some kid in the closet.
I'm light skinned. I get a job anywhere.
Well, okay, you can keep thinking that. I'm not black. I'm OJ. You keep thinking
Okay.
that. You keep thinking that.
What I'm saying is, I was joking about that. I joke around about skin color all the time. Black, white, green, blue, doesn't matter to me. I ride for what I ride for, what I believe in. And I don't think Mike Leach, I ain't riding for him or nothing like that, but I don't feel like I think he made a bad judgment call. I think he was highly insensitive, but I do believe that he was ignorant to the fact of what this might do. Or else, why would he post it?
I'm not making excuses for you, Mike. You got to go. Anyway, moving forward. My co-host thinks the greatest comeback of all time was the Cleveland Cavaliers coming back from being down 3-1 over the Golden State Warriors.
2016 NBA Finals. And absolutely. I mean, it was on ESPN the other day. They played like the last two games. I think they played they played game 5, 6, and 7. I watched them, and I'm cheering as if I hadn't been there before, I haven't seen it.
They
And my son was sitting right there, and he was cheering as if he's never seen it.
They just showed Kobe's last game yesterday, and I was cheering like that too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, finish.
So you see this, and it's all right, game 5 happens, and without Draymond, and I hate hearing this, but it's it's 3-1.
That's where I was going.
Draymond kicks LeBron in the manhole, and got suspended. So they win that game. So it's 3-2.
Draymond missed the next game.
He missed. It was 3-2. He missed game 5. This happened in game 4.
All right.
So Draymond gets suspended for game 5. They come out and win in Cleveland. Go up. Golden State still up 3-2. Fine. Great. Whatever. So they have Draymond has 6 and 7 to get his revenge, or Golden State has 6 and 7, one being in Golden State to win.
Yes.
Actually, 2 being in Golden State.
I thought just Game 7 was in Golden State.
Because Game 5 was in Golden State.
Yeah, and then Game 6 was in Cleveland.
And then Game 7 was in Golden State.
Yeah.
They had 2 times that went at home. They lost Game 5. Because, we didn't have Draymond. His 9 and 8 that he normally produces. His triple single.
It's more than that.
His triple single. So he wasn't there for his triple single, so they lost.
It's not about the stats.
So then Game 6, he has a chance to come out. Game 7, Draymond comes out and he goes, 5 for 5 from the 3-point line? He has like 26 points or something, 25 points that game. LeBron makes the block down there. Kyrie hits the big shot.
He was just trying to get
Kevin Love gets the stop. There's a lot of things that had to line up for them to win 3 in a row against a team that lost 9 games all season. So in the last 3 games of their season, they lost 3 games. That's 33% of all the games they lost all season. 1/3, because they only lost 9. They were 73-9, just in case anyone forgot. The team that had the best record ever in the NBA. 73-9. They lost 33% of the games in the last 3 games they played in the NBA Finals that they lost in the entire 82-game season. It's got to be the greatest comeback. Not even close.
I think just because you raise your voice don't mean you're right?
I agree with you. When I raise my voice because I feel strongly about something, making my argument. I don't mean I'm right. You're right.
I don't agree. But
when you don't agree, it's what you always told me. I learned this from you. I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
When you don't agree with something, or you don't agree with someone's idea, you don't agree with something somebody's saying, then it's your responsibility to come back with something that's better.
Yes.
So I hope you have something that's better. That's why I'm saying that.
And I will next week.
Come on, no, I'm not giving you a week to think about it.
That's what we're gonna do.
If it's the greatest comeback you've ever known, it's be on top of your mind right now.
We're running out of time, man.
I don't care. You say whatever.
Time is
you
of
can
the
say
essence.
Super Bowl Eagles versus Patriots or whatever. I don't know.
Time is of the essence.
Hey,
we saw a pretty good comeback this year in the Super Bowl.
What Super Bowl?
What do you mean what Super Bowl? The Chiefs and the 49ers. The Chiefs came back.
Nah, the best Super Bowl comeback ever was Patriots against Atlanta Falcons.
That was my next one. I was about to go to Tom Brady.
That wasn't the greatest comeback ever.
Well, I'm just saying.
3 games? 3 games.
Listen, all I'm saying is...
Win or go home 3 games in a row.
We'll touch on this next
Super
week.
Bowl is 1 game.
When I have time to really elaborate on my decision.
Man, because you see, that's what I be talking about. You be on that bull.
Nah, man.
You be on that bull, man.
We got less than a minute left.
I gave you one. I gave you a comeback one.
I got 2 right there that I would probably put ahead of that one.
No, you wouldn't. Nobody would.
Maybe not this year, but Tom Brady.
It's more impressive when you have to do 3 of them. Tom Brady ain't come back that 3 times, 3 Super Bowls. No, stop.
Listen,
that's 3 games.
I'll be back next year to elaborate and break it down for you.
Next week, not next year.
Next week, I'm sorry.
Come back next year, take a break.
You're right. Next week, man. Get the shout outs in, man.
Man, shout out to the healthcare workers, man. I want to give them a standing ovation. I do want to set something up downtown for Lancaster General to have that whole situation they have in New York. I wish we could do something like that. I don't live in the city, but maybe we can set something up where we just go down there, get a quick little hand clap before standing ovation when they're walking out for shift change, and maybe TCP can put something like that together.
We need to. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Maybe we should. Much respect and this goes out to not just the ones here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, but all over the world, all over the U.S. And beyond, because this is a big deal, and if people listen and we keep social distancing and taking the proper precautions, maybe we can start seeing a decline in deaths in the U.S. and just so we can get back to normal. normalcy. But other than that, I'll give a shout out to my 7-letter family like I always do. And stay laid up, stay prayed up, stay out the way, and listen to what some old folks have to say. See you guys next week. Peace.
5 Hour Energy is energy on the go. Well, what if you're not going anywhere for a while? Then 5 Hour Energy is for getting stuff done while you're stuck at home, like doing an honest day's work for your boss. Getting rid of old clothes.
Oh, my old bell-bottoms.
Scouring the grout in your shower. Working out on that old stationary bike. And so much more. Go to the store or order online at shop5hourenergy.com. 5 Hour Energy. Energy for hunkering down.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Brandon Way's Opinionated Facts. Now that the opinions are facts, be sure to subscribe to the RTFSportsNetwork.com radio website. Scroll down to the bottom of the website, enter your email, and enter in some drawings. $500 gift card given away every month in the year 2020.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Do you love paintball? Do you love the competition? Do you ever wonder what it's like to really play paintball? Join us right here at the top of the hour with Behind the Bunker.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Behind the Bunker, a weekly paintball show here in beautiful Kossuth Road Studios. My name is Todd Ansich, and tonight we have yet another weekly paintball show. For those of you that are new and may not have seen the show before, we go live every Monday night, and now that this quarantine is happening, we also do a live quarantine show on Saturday night. So if you're looking for live paintball content, you guys can tune in. Also, because there's no sports on TV, what we're doing is every night at 8 o'clock, not just Monday and Saturday, but every night at 8 o'clock, we're putting up a new to you episode or a rewind episode. So if you've never seen some of our 400 and some odd episodes, go back and watch it. And starting this week, we're going to dig back. We're going to go back a couple of years ago. So you'll be able to see some stuff that we did a few years ago. Yeah, you might find it amusing, especially some of the new products that are released, back then. But check it out. So as I say, we're live every Monday night and Saturday night for our quarantine show. And all of our shows are up as podcasts, and you can get those anywhere that you get your podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, Podomatic, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast from, that's where you can find it. So thank you guys for tuning in. We also have our show on YouTube. So if you aren't really on Facebook a lot, you guys can always subscribe to YouTube. And it's not just me. Unfortunately, I'm locked in. This is day 23 of my quarantine or self-quarantine, but none of the other guys can make it to the studio. So we have them, as you see here, all in their own home studios. We have Matt the Crypt in the top left corner. We have Man of Many Words. And we have Joe Kimson in the top right corner.
Greetings. Thanks for tuning in to Behind the Bunker tonight live. If you go back a couple years in those shows, I might even have hair.
Remember we used to call him Bushy Top? Yeah. And then we have Gavin Sharma in TerraTech
That's right,
Industries.
folks. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Monday night, our regular show. And just in case people forget what the heck we do every Monday, make sure you hit that like and share button. Or if you're so inclined, start a watch party, because it is Behind the Bunker with a special guest. It's going to be an incredible show. Make sure that everybody's involved.
Yeah. We also have Josh Zuby Zabrikis in the bottom right corner.
Good evening, all you cats and kittens out there. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, like and share this train wreck so you can let everybody know how bored you are in this quarantine.
Train wreck indeed. And in the bottom center square, we have Tom Cole, all the way from NXL Paintball and the UWL League. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Now, before we go too far, I'm not sure how familiar you are with our program, but Gavin Sharma is the owner and operator of TerraTech Industries. He's a sand-based paintball manufacturer. Maybe we can hook you guys up later, and maybe you can sell some of your sand-based paintballs to the NXL next year. Maybe you can be a sponsor.
I would love to connect with you after the show, Tom, because I would love to be the exclusive distributor of marking projectiles for the NXL for next year.
There you
Marking projectiles.
Marking projectiles.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk after the show.
Yeah. Gavin doesn't use gelatin or anything like that. It's all sand-based. It's all natural. It's biodegradable. Nothing to clean up afterwards. And one of the most marking paintballs on the market today.
The TerraTech paintballs are baked in an autoclave at 366 degrees Fahrenheit under pressure and steam. They're put together just like a brick, but because of the unique pressure and the mixture of the sand, when they hit, they immediately break, and thus dyeing and covering the target with any colors.
Sure, Joe. Just give away all the company
trade
secrets on the internet.
Now, I will say
nobody's watching anyways.
I didn't say the kind of sand they use is silica sand, so oops.
Yeah, the kind of manufacturing process that he has, unfortunately, each paintball is about $43. So it's expensive, but it's going to hit everything that you shoot. So
and we only sell it by the truckload. So.
Sounds like we're in.
Yeah. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tom Cole, first time on the paintball show. Tom, have you watched or heard the show before?
I have.
Bullshit.
I've watched it many times, actually.
Bullshit. Tom's got better things to do.
Times, I mean, we're talking a long time here. Like, I don't remember the first time I saw the show, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yes, I've watched the show.
You're probably stuck in a train station waiting for your trip or whatever, and you just happen to pop up on your phone. But thank you for
that has happened. But now when we started the UWL, I definitely was looking around at different stuff. So
yeah. So we have Tom in the studio, guys. If there's anything that you'd like to ask, we've got your chat loaded up right now. I see you guys are chiming in on YouTube.
We have Tom Cole, first time on the paintball show.
That's my phone. I'm trying to get things. Relax. It's fine. I got a new camera.
We're new.
Computer. We're fine. I've got it here.
So we're watching your live chat, guys. If there's any questions you have, let's get it up. But one thing we will talk about is where are you right now? You're quarantined, and whereabouts are you?
Yeah, I'm a self-quarantine right now in Montgomery, Alabama. My fiance is a traveling nurse, emergency room nurse. So she's obviously dealing with a lot of sick people. So, and she's still coming home every night. So in order to avoid trying to spread it around, I'm just self-quarantined for a while.
Yeah, for sure. So a man like yourself who travels maybe once or twice a year, how much is this quarantine driving you nuts?
It's brutal. Like, this is the most amount of time I've spent home probably in 15 years. So this is my longest stretch. Yeah. It's good though. I'm catching up on a lot of stuff. So it's good.
And you can't even use the argument to your lady friend that, hey, I'm home, I'm spending time with you, because she's on the road.
Yeah, and we've been trying to work a lot, trying to respond to how we're going to deal with the situation that we're currently in on the paintball side. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff trying to repair what's broken.
So you've had a successful event already in Vegas, and then you got blindsided like the entire world with this coronavirus and this lockdown and all that sort of stuff. How many events have you had to cancel so far, and what's your predictions, or how are you situated right now? I know that's the top at hand of most people that are going to want to.
So we've canceled Prague and Barcelona or Spain already in Europe, and in the United States we've canceled Round Rock, which is Texas. We still have on the calendar Richmond, Chicago, and then obviously World Cup.
Yeah. Okay. So you've canceled the ones in North America, but you've postponed Spain.
So initially we were, and we have to revisit that, but initially we were planning on just trying to avoid this and just push it back a little later. But now as it goes further, that's going to get harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
So we'll look at that. But we were hoping it was just going to be one event and we would just push it to the end of the season. So now it's kind of changed that whole idea.
Yeah. When do you think you're going to have boots back on the ground? When do you think you're going to have an event? And I know that's a crystal ball question, but are you?
Yeah. So right now the federal government has us on lockdown in the U.S. until April 30th. And Virginia actually has a stay-at-home order in effect till June 10th. So about 15 days before our scheduled event. I had a conference call with the folks over at the city of Richmond the other day, and they felt confident that we could host that event. but they have as much information as I have. You know what I mean? This is uncharted territory for everybody. So everybody's kind of up in the air. So, yeah. And I mean, I go by the CDC, Center for Disease Control is kind of who we listen to. So as long as they have their stuff in place, we won't be running events.
The president doesn't even listen to them.
Yeah, I try not to listen to him. I mean, I'm not going to get political, but yeah.
That's true.
He changed a lot, right? So I try to pay attention to him. He's
Doesn't he have a cure?
Huh?
Doesn't he have a cure? I thought he
might have a cure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what about now? I've heard a rumor that because the season may get bumped back, that you're considering bringing an event to Toronto, and it's not called the Sky Dome anymore. It's called the Rogers Centre, but you're considering having an NXL North in the Rogers Centre in the Dome, and you could host it in the winter because you could have a 12 or a 14-hour day because of the illumination.
So did you really hear this, or are you just wishful thinking?
I made it up.
I thought you were going to bring
wishful
up
thinking on all our parts.
Yeah.
I was going to find out I had some leaks right there. No, we've actually the Sky Dome was one of my favorite events, right? From an overall ambiance thing, it was great.
Did you just say ambiance?
That's fantastic.
It was cool. I mean, I rode in an elevator with a professional, and I don't follow professional sports, but I rode in an elevator with a professional basketball player, right? So it's like we were on par with professional sports at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little set up a little weird, but it was cool to be in a stadium.
But see, that's why the NXL events are at the level that they are, because you're concerned about the ambiance of the events and the feng shui.
I am. We spent a lot of time thinking about the ambiance of the event, for sure. I don't know about feng shui, but yes, we definitely worry about the ambiance.
Yeah.
I mean, because people are there to have a good time, right? Paintball is only a portion of it. So we got to help with all.
Because everybody's all interested in putting paintball to the masses and trying to help grow our sport, when you're designing a layout of the venue, how important is it to have sightlines for the public, and what do you try to put out front and foremost? Or are you even paying attention to the fact that the public could be coming to these events?
We do pay attention to whether the public's going to come to the events. We have two venues that we really try and push that for. One is the Vegas venue, which is right in the middle of a park, and it's an open layout that we have. So people that are regularly jogging at the park or participating at the park on their usual dog walks or whatever, they actually are funneled right through the event, which is kind of neat for us. And then World Cup, we do a lot to try and get outside people to come actually play paintball there. We have a big sign that says free paintball. This year we partnered with Uno's Pizzeria. They sent out an email along with the city of Kissimmee to, I don't know, a lot of people, let's say, and they put it on every table at the Uno's in the Florida area that said come and play paintball for free. And we had a paintball park set up, or paintball field set up for people to come play for free. And we ran about 500 players through there with rental guns to play against each other for free. Okay. So that was a good foot forward. I think that's neat. I like the fact that we do that. But not all of the events have the advantage of that. Chicago's a little more hidden. But Atlantic City was a good venue for that. Everybody got to drive by and see it. So, yes, we do think about that.
I remember going to Chicago to, I guess, PSP when it was in Bolingbrook, and it was in like this large park area outside of Bolingbrook, I think, and it was across the street was residences, and there had people parking. It was pretty crazy. A lot of good, really good, publicity, I guess, and exposure for paintball as well. It was a pretty neat event.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like World Cup. You talk about World Cup, like when you're in the Orlando area, Kissimmee area, everyone knows what's going on. Like you say you play paintball, and they're like, oh, like that big thing that you guys throw, or the big event that's over by the Gaylord Palms. I mean, the World Cup's obviously, when you drive past it, you're like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a pretty. I've seen it obviously for several years in a row, and World Cup, and when you pull up to it, it's a pretty spectacular thing. It's like an outdoor exhibition. It's flags flying, there's security, and there's lots of guys parking people, and there's cars and cars and cars. It's certainly a huge event, and it's a neat
spectacle almost, if you will.
I would say a spectacle with fantastic outdoor ambiance, if you will.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You should hear the arguments about all the ambiance stuff I have with my staff.
Yeah, but how much of that ambiance and whatnot is putting money into the Floridians' pockets. I mean, Joe and I have been going to World Cup as it stood for years, as long as I can remember, and not one Florida resident or employee, rather, when they asked, what are you down here for, half expecting you to say Disney, you say paintball, and they all know. They know what's going on. They're well aware that paintball comes every year, and they're happy for it,
And Golden Corral is well aware that Joe is visiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the whole, the city has really got behind helping us come down. They do a lot for us at the events. And it's definitely opened some doors. We've talked to the gentlemen at Disney, they drive by occasionally and stop in and check on us. And we've gone to, all the amusement parks and tried to do some partnership stuff with us. So it's good to stay in the limelight. So,
yeah. So you've got the UWL that you're overseeing. You're overseeing.
No, I'm going to get you on this one. So we don't really do the UWL now. We kind of transformed that into the ICPL.
Okay, sorry.
So,
yeah.
Yep. So now it's the ICPL, which is actually an entity of the NXL. It's just our mechanical woods volley kind of version.
Okay. So then you have the ICPL. You have North America. You're also doing NXL Europe. You're also doing Mexico. And am I missing one?
Antarctica.
Antarctica. No, we affiliate with other leagues. We have an Asian NXL, we have an Australian NXL, we have a European NXL, and then the United States NXL. I guess we'll call that North America. And then we do a Brazilian event. We don't really have an event in Canada or Mexico yet, though. But other than that, everybody else is pretty much just affiliates kind of using our rules or using our whatever stuff.
Yeah. I'd love to have an NXL event in Canada. The problem is we're not a very large country as far as population, and we're spread out so thin. It kind of, maybe a one-off, but it'd be a tough sell.
Yeah, and the flights are expensive throughout Canada. just going from east to west is
not this week.
Not this week, yeah. If you can get one, but yeah, it's a challenge, and none of my hoodlums would be able to come, right? Because Canada's pretty strict on who can come. So if you've been convicted of a crime, drugs, alcohol, you're not going to let us in.
Do you have any carnies?
I don't say that some of my customers are hoodlums, but we would see a decrease in players for sure.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So you're all over the map on locations. If you were to I kind of want to ask a couple of questions about this, but what is your favorite venue to go to? Maybe it's your easiest venue.
My favorite venue is obviously the World Cup, right? It's it was lucky that we got it. It was like I went to Orlando 6 times trying to find the venue, and it's hard to find something that big that someone wants to let us use. And it's I think it's great. It's on the leadway to Disney. You make a wrong turn, you end up in the Disney parking lot. You're right across the street from the Gaylord, and I like Florida. And World Cup's exciting for me. Everybody's happy when I'm there. So I like that venue, probably the best.
Yeah. Worst venue? I can make some recommendations. I know personally, being to Texas, it's usually your rainy event, and it's usually one of your harder ones. Could that be?
Texas has been brutal. All my events last year were brutal as far as the weather's concerned. But Texas, is probably my nemesis at this point.
Yeah. Now,
we want to track this weekend. It's probably going to be beautiful this year. Really, we can't.
Yeah. Now, worst event. Joe and I have hosted events at our field, and we've been destroyed by weather. We had wind gusts come in that literally ripped 150 feet of mesh on one of our fields, like someone ripping a piece of paper towel off of a roll. We've had wind knock our poles over. We've lost quick shades and tents. I know this has happened to you guys before, both in Europe and in North America, but what was the worst event you've sustained damage from?
Well, as myself, as Tom, when I worked with the PSP, we had a really bad event in Galveston. It took down all of our nets and all of our poles, and we actually had to play. Basically, everybody had to wear goggles the whole time because we didn't have enough net to contain the area. I thought, it was just as a promoter guy. But definitely was Amsterdam this year. I mean, because it was people were sending me pictures of the venue the weekend before. It was 70 degrees, beautiful. It was one of the highest team counts Europe's ever had, and we just got turned into a mud fest. And so it was miserable to play. I can't believe people still played the 10-man, which is an optional in the schedule. And I'm like, why are you guys playing this? And they're like, we're here. But it was pretty miserable to be in. It was cold. It was wet. And it was frustrating for what it could have been, right? It had a lot of teams and a lot of the Nations Cup teams, which is always a neat ambiance. I'm on that ambiance thing. You had all the families and friends and all that stuff, and then it just turns into a mud hole. And it was so bad that people weren't even – normally people are mad at us, right, and saying stuff. People just were like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
And just clogged
That's
on.
not jumping off the balcony.
All right, so you have these crappy events like Texas, for example, when you got completely rained upon. And Joe and I have always talked about this as well, but we never – I guess we did the one year. We went back to the NXL event on a Monday or Tuesday just to see the carnage. But what do you guys have to do to leave the facility in such a way that, that's deemed appropriate in your contract?
It really depends on the facility. Like the Craig Grant's, the Vegas facility, we have to leave it the way we got it, which is a risky clause in the contract. But we clean that park up. We basically get 99.9% of the paintballs up and leave the park in a beautiful condition. A place like the Texas Motor Speedway, where the area is typically an overflow parking for some of their bigger events, we don't have to leave the grass that well. And that's one of the challenges we face, like, because the players always want, like, soccer field quality grass, right? And I don't blame them. But then when we go to a soccer-type facility, we have to leave it the way we got it. And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like the Philadelphia venue that we went to, I mean, we did some damage to that property and had to pay to fix that. And so it's just not – we can't go to that pristine of a place. So a place like Orlando where, once again, the grass isn't that great, but we don't have to deal with that type of a cleanup thing. But, yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Where's a venue you've been to that you just will not go back? Whether you've not been asked to go or whether it's you just did not enjoy the venue.
I don't think Philly's going to have us back.
I love how you said that.
And we warn everybody because a lot of sports have what they call rain dates, right? So in my negotiations, they're always asking me, what's your available rain date? And I'm like, we have no rain date, right? The Russians are flying in from Russia. We play regardless. And we have a lot of bodies, and if we're walking across wet grass, it's going to be in a bad way. So the problem was that, like, literally that Monday, I have people showing up to play lacrosse, and that's their practice fields for the baseball teams, and I got to meet with all those people and say, hey, these fields are just not – you're not going to be able to play them. Like, even if they're just not going to be able to play. Well, we're going to do what we can, but you guys can't play this week. So we actually had to pay to move the lacrosse team to another park, rent the – place for them to practice and deal with all of that. So it's a challenge.
Lacrosse.
Yeah. It's definitely an export.
The Under Armour rep that was trying to get Under Armour into paintball, he was also the U.S. collegiate guy for lacrosse. So he handled all the lacrosse sponsorships, but somewhere along the line, he really liked paintball. So that's where that big Under Armour push into paintball a couple of years came from, but then he transferred to Aztecs or New Balance, which really doesn't have anything that will fit into the paintball thing. That's just trivia.
He went to Red Bull first, and then he went to wherever he's at now, New Balance. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that was I just threw that in there for some trivia.
He trumped you on your trivia question.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Oh boy!
We were talking about bad weather. I remember Todd and to Chicago to the PSB because it's a reasonable distance. You don't have to fly; you can drive. And we were down there one weekend, and we were sitting in the Target parking lot, and it started raining and wind blowing, and the shopping carts were going by us in our car. We waited for a let up, and the doors in the Target were swinging open and the tiles were falling down. We finally, it subsided enough. We ran in and there was no one in the building. We looked around, we were walking around with a cart, no one was there. Finally, the lights started to stop flashing and they'd all come out because there was a tornado warning. But then that was the same weekend as I guess a PSP, and we went to the field the next day, and there was just this massive field of pile of pop-up tents, just all
carnage,
and the mesh was down. It was a disaster.
That was the same weekend that Living Legends happened, and I think it was a PSP. I don't think it was an NPPL, but
maybe it was an
PSP. It's definitely a PSP.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw a pile that was like a 3-story building of just broken quick shades. You could tell they just got all they wanted to do was just put them in a pile to get rid of them later, but. The guys were like working ants, and they were just trying to put the mesh up the best that they can. And I think they limped through. I don't think they had all the fields back up, but
yeah, we have a pretty amazing crew that puts up with all of that. You know, some weekends they have it pretty easy, and some weekends it's an absolute nightmare. Yeah. But we've learned from some of that stuff. So we now own our own tents. We don't use pop-ups anymore, and we own a more robust tent so we can avoid that. And we've developed a screw system. The PSP actually developed a screw system after Galveston to make stuff a little more sturdy. So my operations guys, we call him Fatty, but Matthew, he is always looking for ways to try and make the events a little more stable and survive.
Yeah. I have to say, those screw systems that you guys come up with were fantastic. And for those of you guys that don't know what it is, picture an auger for a skid steer for basically drilling a hole, but the auger has a hollow center, and what they do is they just drill it into the ground, and then they literally just drop a pole inside of it. The pole already has a hole at the top where the cable's already put through, and they just literally prop it up. It's brilliant. If we didn't have a permanent field system, that's what we would probably implement. We used to have the tripods that we put up, and those things are like they're like folded paper, ready to just to collapse at any time.
Or we wouldn't have anything. We just have barrels and sandbags and camouflage nets.
Yeah, we got hit with an event so bad with the wind that we had Joe's deuce and a half truck acting as one of the corner braces, pulling those things up with aircraft cable, pulling it down just so we could have a corner so people didn't have to have goggles that were trying to watch the match. It was bad. We vowed we would never, ever put up those portable units ever again. And luckily, knock on wood, we've never had to again. But yeah, those were terrible.
Those were the days, Archie.
Is that the event that broke your shoulder?
No, that was a couple years later. Yeah, but you know what? You're right. Those were those frickin' tripods. Yeah.
How did you break your shoulder at an event?
I took his arm off.
Yeah, I dislocated my shoulder and ripped off my rotator cuff and broke my humerus in 3 spots because there was a yellow nylon rope that was under high pressure that I tried to release up over my head, and it threw my arm back and around so hard it kind of hit myself in the backside, and then that was it. My arm just hung off the side of my body. Great time. Great fun. Yeah.
And now he has fun at the X-ray every time we go on a plane.
Yeah. I was so mad. I got screws put in and everything was awesome. You know, I had this reconstructed shoulder, and I thought, okay, the first time I'm going to go to the airport, I'm going to set off that alarm system, and I'm going to have to show them the X-ray. And I went through the metal detector and nothing. Not a beep, not a nothing. I was a little disappointed. I went through all that just to, yeah. Oh, well.
All right. Excellent.
Hospital.
So a question for you, Tom. For those who don't know or just know you from the NXL, do you want to do a quick bio in terms of how the hell you got to where you are today? When did you start playing paintball?
Sure. I started playing probably in 1986. I played for a team called Bad Company, and we played locally at first, and then we moved on to the National Series. We played a 15-man and 10-man series under Lively Productions, which was the tournament series at the time, the NXL of the day. And at some point in time, we led a coup, or the players led a coup, and created a pro for the Players League. We've heard that a bunch of times. And I was elected president of the For the Players League, so I became kind of the representative there. So I continued to play with Bad Company and was the president of the NPPL from, let's call it 96 to 2002. And then we had the big split with the NPPL and the PSP. And so I stuck with the NPPL, even though I stepped down from president. I played for a couple of years, and then I became an ultimate referee. And then I got hired from the NPPL as the ultimate referee over to the PSP, and then I became the PSP's general manager, and then I left there to run the NXL.
Can we go one step further back, though? Your very first experience playing paintball, was it a birthday party? How did you start to play? Because you didn't just join a team. What got you in the paintball field?
So we were at an Army surplus store. I was a kid, right? So I'm 16, 17. We were a little bit of hoodlums, and we went to an Army surplus store, and we're like shopping around, and there was a flyer, and it showed a person with paintball guns. Obviously, we were playing with pump guns back then. And so me and a group of my friends, we got together and we went to go play. There's probably 6 of us, and we played with splat matches, and we played against existing teams. The way you used to play back then is you would just show up, and there was no rental really. You could rent equipment.
Get shot up.
Yeah, you just played with everybody else. And so we played, and there was a bunch of teams playing, and we did pretty good just because we were young and we were fast. And a team called Green Machine asked us to go play with them in a tournament in Africa. And I was like, yeah, right. You guys are really going to go to Africa. And then we continued to play for a couple more months, and then I saw that same team in an APG magazine in South Africa winning a tournament. Same guys that we basically felt like we had beat back in the day. So we decided to start our own team.
Circle of life.
Circle of life. So we started our own team, and basically that group of friends was Bad Company, and Bad Company probably played all the way until, I'm going to say 2008. I could be making that part up, but for a long, long time we played. And Todd Martinez, he's constantly with the companies. He yells company all the time on all of his little webcasts. That used to be our team code for a kill. We would all yell company every time someone got eliminated from the other team. So,
yeah. Good for you. So you went from enjoying paintball to working in paintball. Would you, if you had the opportunity, would you change it? Would you be doing something else? Maybe take up pediatrics?
Well, I mean, before this thing, I was pretty happy, but running big events that everybody has to fly into is probably not a good thing. No, I mean, I love my job, right? Like, it's what I do. It's like, I mean, I still like all forms of paintball, right? I've played Living Legends, I played D-Day, I played Ion this year, you know what I mean? I like playing paintball, and I like watching the teams win. I get very excited when a new team wins an NXL event. I like playing still. I play some 10-mans. I've played the ICC, and I've played the SPPL back in the day. So, no, I'm pretty happy with what we're doing. And we get a lot of people here that, everybody's always bashing on the NXL, but really at the events, there's a lot of people that thank us for having events and thank us for doing what we do. And,
Yeah, very cool.
Pretty hard to please everybody, Tom, no matter what you do and how you do it. It's tough, and you'll always have people that are unhappy or something didn't go quite the way it should. But I think overall you guys do a pretty fantastic job of, providing a pretty consistent level of, I guess, product, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you. And we've seen growth, you know what I mean? Like Vegas was, it was 260 teams at Vegas. And so that's a lot. I mean, that's almost as big as my first World Cup that we ran in 2015. So, paintball was on the right track there until this short little blip in the radar.
And that was going to be my next segue. Do you feel that paintball is on an upswing now? It's hard, I guess, for you. You see paintball from a gun owner standpoint and from an organized team standpoint, not so much from the field owner standpoint who has the rental kits and stuff like that. But are you feeling that the industry is sort of picking up, or
So tournament side wise, we're at an all-time high, right? So at least at the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, not only were we having record events, but so are some of our affiliates. The MVPS in Florida, I think they did just maybe right around 100 teams.
Yeah.
For Vegas to have 260 teams, that's crazy. And I can't even, the number for World Cup, let's call it 550 teams, right? That's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It's more than anyone has ever had playing paintball. Now, from an industry point of view, paint is cheaper than ever before. So on some levels, those guys aren't maybe making the money that they used to. But on our side, we have we're excited about it. And that's one of the things that I felt kind of held the PSP back a little bit, because they were run by the industry. So when the industry had a dip, they had the dip. And so they would bring that mentality in how to run the events. And in reality, so whereas the event may go up a little bit, but if the overall paintball numbers were down, everybody was still unhappy. Whereas with us, if I go up one more team over last year's same event, I'm excited. I feel like, we're thriving. So we're very isolated. We don't have all that other baggage. Whereas if you're trying to run tournaments and run a paintball company, you're dealing with all sorts of baggage.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we're getting close to the halfway mark here, guys, and there's a couple of important things I want to tell you real quick. One thing is, I want to mention to you, the guys that may be tuning in late, we are a weekly paintball show. We go live every Monday night during this lockdown virus nonsense. We also do a quarantine show on Saturday night, which is recorded live or presented live. And then every other night of the week, since there's no sporting events or anything else on the TV, every night at 8 o'clock, we're putting up a rewind episode for you guys to still be able to digest some paintball news and, well, maybe not in the next week because we're gonna put up some older episodes, but still paintball content. But I want to tell you guys about a couple different things, mainly Planet Clips. Did you guys know that they are the creators of the most incredible paintball markers, soft gear, and goods, and they have the most winningest paintball markers in history. Now innovators in mechanical actions, including the new M170R and the MG100 MagFed Marvel. You guys need to check them out at your local retail store.
Can't find my reeds.
You can't find your reeds.
I can't find my reeds. Enola Gay is the leading manufacturer of smoke grenades, Thunder Flash, and for airsoft movie and film and whatever. Pull a pin on an EG at your next event.
And Arabs are proudly made in the USA. Their thick welded seams, stainless steel hardware, multiple color options and layouts are available. 2020 fields are shipping. Ask for full color printing and custom logo options. Customize your next field with Arabs.
Ruthless Paintball Products caters to both professional players and weekend warriors. They have set a new level of paintball playing apparel. You can head over to their website now and use our very own promo code of BTB15 to get 15% off.
And more than just swabs and pads, Exalt is a way of life. Available at discerning retailers, fields, shops, and shows. It is tournament-ready, battle-proven Exalt.
In the beginning, you fall out of a tree, you stumble down a rocky cliff, you wade chest deep through a mosquito-infested bog, and you realize you're surrounded. It's party time. You own a Tippmann, now combined Empire, JT Tippmann, and V-Force, and you get the world's largest distributor of everything paintball, GI Sports. And I'd like to Enola Gay is the world's leading manufacturer of smoke grenades, Thunder Flash, airsoft, and paintball grenades for use in theater, film, photography, and, of course, paintball. Pull an EG tab at your next event. #PopSmoke.
Very good. DLX Technologies, guys, the manufacturer of the Lux paintball marker, as well as other great product lines like the SP Shocker, the GOG Enemy, and the Freak Barrel Kits, just to name a few. They are a longtime paintball manufacturer, and they have the product that you can trust. And their product, guys, they're outstanding.
For over 50 years, Altama has proudly carried militaries from across the globe through every challenging environment, including malls, jungles, deserts, and urban battle zones. Make Altama your next paintball, airsoft, or everyday shoot. Look for Altama Original SWAT or First Tactical at a leading retailer near you.
And not all ninjas wear black. With advanced colorways, coatings, adjustable regs, remote lines, field stations, testing, and so much more, Ninja products have what it takes to keep you always out front and always in the game. And do not forget, they are made in America.
Very good. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Some of them are similar to the NXL, so guys, check them out and give them your support. Hey, Tom, you were part and parcel with the NPPL, you had said earlier, and it kind of clicked a switch in my head. Whatever happened to good old Chuck Hench?
Good old Chuck Hench. Chuck Hench ran the last version of the NPPL, and then he went on to run a surfing league, I believe.
Righteous.
So, yeah, he's always been a surfer, so he's been kind of a California boy his whole life. So.
Very cool. And then what about Ron Kilborn, speaking of the NPPL?
Ron Kilborn actually just came out of the woodwork not too long ago.
Really?
He's retired. He used to work at Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
I think he's retired. And, yeah, I can't remember what event I saw him. I guess Vegas. But, yeah, He seems to be doing well.
I always enjoy hearing stories about how he was one of the biggest known cheats, so they brought him in as a rules consultant or a
Yeah, he was a nightmare from a wrestling point of view. Actually, he just refused to stop shooting at people one time, so I had to take his barrel off. Because he was like, I just want to shoot Adam Gardner. I just want to shoot Adam Gardner. I was like, well, you had your chance, right? Now you can't. So I took his barrel off so he stopped shooting.
Yeah, I like Ron. I have lots of stories of Ron. He was a great guy.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious.
Yeah. So with this coronavirus nonsense going on, we'll get back into paintball chat in a second, but I'd like to know, we talked about this on our quarantine show on Saturday night, but Tom, I want to hear from you. You're at home, you're quarantined alone. What are you binge watching?
Actually, well, I'm just going to get my geekness coming out, but I just watched like the Lord of the Rings from beginning to end, which is like the extended versions, which is really, really long.
Wow, I didn't. I said binge watching, not. That's crazy. The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, we're on lockdown, so me and my fiance, we watch like a couple hours every night or whatever. So
yeah, I'm expecting you to say you just got into Game of Thrones and whipped that off in a couple hours.
No, I actually watched that as soon as it came out. So I read the books when I was younger. So yeah, I really liked them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. When the Lord of the Rings are done, what do you have on your what's next on the horizon?
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I was listening to you guys talk earlier, so maybe you all have some suggestions.
You don't want to watch anything we're watching. I'm watching the Elton John documentary right now. I'm halfway through it. That's
why?
Because he's a rocket man. I don't know. I started watching it and I invested.
You that far down the bottom of the barrel?
Hey, Rocket Man was a good movie.
We watched Rocket Man.
Okay, I love anything that's an origin story, and I love documentaries. So it kind of works out.
I'm pretty excited about Netflix and Amazon talk that we're having right now. I can't wait till we segue to what did Tom eat for dinner.
That's my next question. I would like to know, what are you binge eating?
Well, I haven't eaten yet this evening, but we have a crock pot of chili right now.
Now, who's we? Aren't you locked in, or do you have some?
I'm locked in, but my fiance. So
she's still.
My fiance is she's on lockdown with me right now, but she's a traveling emergency room nurse. So
yeah, has anybody seen my fiance?
Your what?
I'm not saying my fiance.
My fiance. Sorry, it's a Seinfeld reference. I apologize, Tom.
That's all right.
Could be a dingo ate your baby.
So here's the thing: when you're at an event, I know you're a busy fellow. I've seen you at events before, and it's usually a hi, how are you, a quick handshake, and a farewell. But do you actually take any opportunities to watch games? Do you? I know at the end of the day, it really doesn't make or break what you're doing, but do you still get a kick out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I really like watching good paintball games. I watch games 2 times, right? Sometimes when I like it, 2 teams, I'll watch the games. I always watch the finals. If I get a lot of complaints about referees, I watch those games. Yeah, I really like watching paintball. I was mad. We had an incident. We'll call it a fight. We'll beat around the bush. We had a fight in the stands in Vegas. And so I missed the finals. So I was really mad about that.
Donnybrook?
Donnybrook, yeah.
It was the proper fight. I saw it on YouTube.
It was a real fight.
I saw it on TMZ, actually. So what ended up happening there, or how did that change things, or tell us about that? Because I know that's something that people want to hear about. I've been messaged about that as well.
Didn't change things, right? People are people, right? Sometimes we get mad, we get passionate, and we punch each other sometimes. It's a sad reality. And it's not paintball specific. I was frustrated because you see people like, this is why paintball is not a real sport. And I'm like, yeah, because there's never been fighting in a basketball game, right? None of those NBA players never went into the stands and punched spectators. That really brought
hockey players never fight each other.
Yeah, hockey players never fight. Like it's like we're being held to a higher standard. We just had guys that were, they were a little drunk and they mouthed off to one another, and next thing you know, they ended up in a little bit of a situation. So
usually how fights start.
That's how fights start, right? And so we actually suspended one gentleman for instigating the fight and a second gentleman for ending the fight. The 2 other people that were kind of mixed up in the middle, they were just kind of like doing what you have to do when people around you are fighting. So we ended up suspending 2 people indefinitely so that they can't come on site again. So, which is all we can do, right? We get the people off the thing, try and make it as safe as possible. I watched my bouncers go in. Usually we call them security, but here they became bouncers, and they they did everything they could. I was pretty impressed with the bouncers. I was expecting to see, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing here for security? But it was good. Yeah. And the fight went around the world. 9 million people seemed to watch that thing.
Well, even bad publicity is good publicity, right?
Tom, I have a couple questions or a couple things.
Tom, Joe has his hand up.
I noticed I get a CNN news feed every day in my feed, and I noticed ESPN Ocho they said they're starting, they're looking for content, so they're running out of things, so they're showing axe throwing and people skipping stones and stuff. Is there a way for the NXL to reach out to ESPN and see if you can get some of your, even the finals on ESPN? That would be a way right now where they're aching for content. Could you not reach out to ESPN and see if they would show? You guys have hours and hours of high quality footage.
Well, I appreciate the high quality comment. I don't know if I should keep this a secret, but we are currently working with ESPN to be on the Ochos this year in August. So there,
I heard
first time it's been public. So we really are. I don't know if you prompted with that or whatever, but we really are going to be. We plan on being on the Ochos this year.
I was going to wear my sombrero for the show, but just because it's an Ocho. And my next segment. Now that the Olympics have been postponed to 2021, and 2021 will be the 40th anniversary of the Olympics, what's the likelihood of getting paintball in Tokyo as a demonstration sport? It would be a fantastic way to get it out in the masses. They have, they would be delighted to show something like that. It is a global event, just like the pandemic. So you could have teams from all over the world if there's anyone left. What are your thoughts?
Give me the hard question. So the Olympics is obviously everyone's goal, right? That would be a great thing to do. It definitely is a bureaucracy and it's hard to do, but we are in the process. We just signed up to be part of their official refereeing program. But we're trying, it's something we're working on, but it's something that's far away. So we're trying to use this downturn in sports to get us some TV coverage, and then hopefully try and work our way onto the Olympics. But yeah, that's a tough one.
Now, what about outside paintball sponsorship? Have you had any luck?
Holy Grail. The Holy Grail.
Yes, sir.
Is there a thought process on that? So
no, not necessarily a thought process, but have you gotten anywhere? Have you had any nibbles?
What about GM or McDonald's or Coca-Cola?
They're all dying to sponsor people running around with guns shooting each other. So it's, one guy explained it to me. He said, no one gets fired for sponsoring the NFL, right? And when you take on a new league like what we would be, right? And let's just say you're Budweiser and you come, well, I'm not even going to use it. Yes, we're working on the opportunities, but it's risky, right? They have to take a bet on something that's new and unproven. And one of the things we try to do is we've made good inroads with Budweiser because of the World Cup. We drink a lot of beer. And so we are one of the largest beer drinking events in that part of Florida on an annual basis. So they actually just reached out to us a couple of days ago to talk about our bar that we have there every time. And so that's really gotten them to realize how big paintball is. Yeah. We're working on that path, but it's not easy. And we actually hope there's going to be some opportunities once again with all these sporting events and overall events being canceled, that it may free up some space in their budgets to try and move forward with that. So,
yeah.
Now, what about if Budweiser or Coca-Cola or even, I guess, Gatorade is Pepsi, but what about having them pay for a field and having a having a field fully color sublimated and printed, and that would be the Coca-Cola field, and you would be on, another team would be on the Bud field, and then you could have a Dunkin' Donuts field and all the bunkers look like Dunkin' Donut cups. What about
so
that?
You're like a health food nut, because that's what you're telling me.
Well, you could have a Whole Foods one, you could have an Amazon one.
All those are great ideas, right? And obviously we're trying to sell that stuff to those people, but we're vying with a lot of other sports, more traditional sports, that have had a good opportunity. We actually, Monster Drinks actually said they only sponsor extreme sports, and we're not an extreme sport.
Same with Red Bull.
Yeah,
that's the actual plot. Well, Red Bull actually has a different system. They only sponsor events that they also manage, right? So the Red Bull go-karting or the Red Bull whatever flight school, that's actually a Red Bull produced event. So they don't do outside events. But we've, this is one of the things. Like I've been recently over the past 3 years, we've been going to a lot of conferences and trying to get inside that world. We actually won a best event of the year at one of these big sports conferences, which was exciting for me. But we're slowly trying to get in those doors. We just did a deal with Red Roof Inn.
Right.
And so it just takes time. And once you get in the door and people start seeing some results, then they move forward.
Yeah, I'd be more impressed if you got a Motel 6 sponsorship. Red Roof Inn is okay, but Motel 6 is where it's at.
I think Motel 6 is better than Red Roof.
Yeah, Bill Scribner says, what about a Modelo sponsorship? And Lee Williams says, after all the coronavirus, what about Corona Extra? They're desperate for sponsorship. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to open those doors, and I know you guys have been there, and we've heard talks for years that we've all been trying to reach out. But again, you're right; it is the holy grail. I mean, finding anybody.
So I went to a conference that was put on by the NFL, and it was at the NFL draft day, right? So we went there and we sat at a little round table. We got to talk with the NFL guys, and they brought in their sponsors. So it was Pepsi and Pizza Hut. So they had their sponsorship guys there, and it was a pretty small, candid conversation. And they basically said sponsorship the way it was, like free money, that's why everybody's like, can you get outside sponsor? Because they think it's just free money, but it's no longer that way. So when they go to sponsor a stadium, they're looking at how much revenue they're going to bring in by the direct sales of the stadium versus whatever. So when they go to do the Sky Dome, they want to make sure that the Sky Dome is selling so much Pepsi to guarantee that they're going to get, $1 million of sponsorship. So that's why we try and stick to one brand of drinks at our events, try and push those drinks, get our numbers up so that we can kind of get some money back that way.
Yeah.
NASCAR also, as far as sponsorship, they do a fantastic job of, with their sponsorship. You see the drivers and the guys won a race, and he's switching different hats because that's what's on his hood, and it's kind of neat if you watch what NASCAR's done. And also when I watched a little bit of the Daytona 500, and they were really marketing towards kids as well to sort of get them involved with kids in go-karts and kids on, motorized go-karts, and then whatever the hill thing, soapbox derby. So they were really marketing at a kid as well, and a father, sort of the combination. I just noticed some of that for NASCAR was doing this year, more so than others.
And
NASCAR's got right? They have a challenging demographic, right? So they're trying to broaden their reach so that they can keep their sponsors happy. I think NASCAR definitely is an aging customer base at this point in time, so they're trying to bring in new people. And from an outside sponsor, we do have a good demographic. It's just, it's a challenging time, and we definitely do something that is not normal.
Yeah.
We're small. Paintball is a small industry when you really think about it compared to other things.
Well, it is and it isn't. So when we
not
talk
as small as
events,
cornhole.
Yeah, not as small as cornhole.
But they can get on Ocho.
We're big events, right? When you start looking at events, short of like soccer and football and all those traditional school sports, I mean, we're one of the bigger events around paintball events, whether it be skirmish or us. Paintball events are big. You don't run into many events that have 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 people at them that aren't local people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you have to look at the inflow for, sports tourism. Our local government really puts a focus on sport tourism. They bring hockey tournaments and other tournaments. They short-sighted. They kicked us out of the town, but that's besides the point. But the emphasis and the buzzword is now sports tourism, and you can certainly see that how welcoming Orlando and Kissimmee is to the NXL when you guys come in.
Yeah, but one thing too that NXL has over, let's say, a big game at skirmish or anything like that, and something that could draw in outside dollars, that our sport has teams and they have professional players. And the way you guys run them and the way teams have, like, they have signings where you can bring posters and have all these teams sign their things. I mean, there's mentors there, and there's figureheads within the sport that people can follow and like or dislike. Like in wrestling, you have your favorite wrestlers, you have the guys that you hate. I mean, paintball has that when it comes to, tournament paintball. So when you're looking for sponsorship, at least there's something for people to follow. I don't know. I guess with cornhole and all these other nonsense that kind of coming to the forefront right now, they're individual players, but
and it's also they're significantly cheaper to run. So talk to the cornhole guy, right? What's it take to run a cornhole tournament, right?
Some bean bags and some boards. You've got infrastructure. You've got to produce air and porta. It's endless. I know.
Let's just talk about the referees, right? So you referee a football game or a soccer tournament, right? They bring in 4 referees for a soccer tournament. I have 2 referees per person that are playing on the field at a time. So yeah, like I talk to the soccer guys and I'm like, so what do you bring to the tournament? And he's like, me, my assistant, and that's it. I bring in something like 70, 80 people. All their travel, all that stuff. So paintball is definitely a challenge. We've designed something that is expensive to run from our days in the woods, that's for sure. Yeah. So, but it's fun, and our customer base is passionate. They're very
but on the other end, you've got Joe and I who, at our field, if we want to run a scenario event and have maybe similar numbers to what we would have if we had 50 teams out for a tournament, a scenario field involves a lot less infrastructure. Yeah, you have referees, but everything is a little more, and you're not putting up bunkers, you're not putting up mesh fields. It's almost easier in a way, but
I would say it's significantly easier to run a big game than I've never ran. I mean, I have ran big games, but logistically, it's harder to run a paintball tournament the way we run them, right? We're not at paintball parks.
That's just it.
Zoning, city ordinance, and we got inspectors and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine how much easier your life would be if you ran less fields and you were able to do it at a paintball field. I mean, that's got to be half your issue, but on the same token,
You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
One of the things we're looking to do is try and, at least during this pandemic time, as a way to try and help out some of the fields. Because right now, I mean, to be honest, the fields are struggling because of the COVID-19. And so if we could find a way to put some of our resources and basically pay a paintball park to have a paintball event, as opposed to giving that money to Las Vegas, who I don't think need the money, we would rather help some of our local paintball parks and try and help them out a little bit. So we're working on some of that stuff now. That's one of the things we're trying to figure out in our planning.
Yeah. Would that be by sending specific divisions to specific fields so it's a smaller event?
It's really just the inkling of an idea. So we're brainstorming, so feel free to post up your ideas on Facebook. But one of the things that I've always felt that made paintball expensive is we travel. So in a perfect world, we'd go to a more regional system so that maybe the California teams played only California events until the World Cup, and the Texas teams only played Texas events until World Cup, and cut down all that. Instead of giving the money to the airlines, we would give the money back to the parks.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Support regional or regional events per se, and that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just an idea. We still haven't vetted it yet. It's just something we've been looking at in the past couple of days because of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if the teams are going to be able to travel in the short term. So.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, from a point of view, when you do the NXL in the States, and then you do the NXL in Europe, and then some of your NXL Asia, and also NXL Antarctica, is it harder to go
Australia as well?
In Australia, which is the hardest to get in? Is there anyone that has tighter government regulations? Are they worried about what you bring into Antarctica? So you damage the penguins, or Australia? I know has some pretty strict firearms laws. Is it?
The penguins are pretty forgiving. So we had some challenges in Spain. Paintball guns are typically not legal in Spain, so we have to get a special exemption to bring them into the city. And we had some of the airport security actually take some of the guns and destroy them. So we ended up reimbursing some of the players for that. Droogs, one of the teams that had their guns taken. But, that's the challenge. We have to work with these city governments to kind of get an approval. And one of the shames is Germany, which is one of the hotbeds of paintball in Europe. It's very strict on the gun laws, and I haven't felt comfortable to do an event there because technically a gun that's shooting at 300 feet per second is pushing the boundaries of the legal limits, shall we say. And so we haven't been bold enough to take that decision yet. But I would say Europe is definitely the scariest.
And how is Europe?
What's going on?